now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
And still no accidents to report, and that's awesome news for all of you out there this morning. Isolated showers today, certainly no washout though. 89 for the high, cloudy and 93 tomorrow, 93 with some sunny skies for Sunday, 72 right now at 107.5 The Game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game here on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head in for Bill Gunter once again this morning. Do have the live stream up and going. So anybody that's been waiting on the live stream, we do have it finally rolling for you this morning. So jump on there, say hello as the show rolls along. Go until 9 o'clock as always. As I mentioned, we did hear from Coach Beamer as well as all the assistants and pretty much every single player yesterday. So a lot of audio to get to today. I want to start off with this one, and let me get my cut list up here. It's going to be cut number 7 for Jen there on the other side of the glass. You know, the running back room is something that we've talked about so much this offseason because it's lacked depth. And there's a reason that Dakereon Joyner moved over there back in the spring. And it was initially to add a little bit of depth to the room. We didn't know that if he was going to stay there once fall rolls around. Obviously, he has stayed there, and he is going to be a running back at least to start the season. But Coach Beamer talked about this a little bit yesterday and did mention one name that they've added to the running back room for the start of camp today.
I've been impressed. Mario, productive. We previously to come in here, had a good spring. Showed he's a guy that can certainly be in the mix for playing time. Key for Mario is just going to be continue to progress and be consistent day in, day out, but certainly has shown an ability. DJ, for a true freshman, excited about him. He's fast, probably faster than I even realized he was when we recruited him, to be honest with you. I mean, he was very productive, but he's had a good summer and hasn't practiced any, so obviously it's going to be learning the offense and all that, but he works at it and has a really good skill set as well. So been pleased with those two guys. We are going to go into preseason working Cam Sandlin, our signee at running back. You know, Cam's a guy that did a little bit of everything in high school and has the ability to run the ball. And initially we were going to start him out as a tight end, and he still may play, tight end in his time, but being a guy that can do a little bit of both as well. He'll be primarily a running back as we start practice tomorrow. So he's another young guy that we would throw in the mix. Excited to see, what he can do. He's one, to answer Hale's question, he'll be a little limited tomorrow. But as we go through the preseason, he'll continue to progress at that position.
So he mentioned a lot of names there. And the first two that he mentioned, Mario Anderson and DJ Braswell, two guys that we have a lot of questions about going into camp. Well, we kind of know what to expect out of Dakereon Joyner. We obviously, Juju McDowell is the most seasoned running back out of everybody in that room. Mario Anderson's making the jump from D2 up to D1. Well, we don't know what he's going to be against the toughness of an SEC defense or something like that. DJ Braswell, true freshman. We have high hopes for him coming in as one of the higher end prospects of the 2023 class, but we'll see what happens once he starts getting some live reps. And the third guy that he threw in there was Cam Sandlin, who, as he mentioned, did come in as a tight end with this recruiting class. Who's going to get the opportunity to play running back to add depth to the room, but who knows what he could end up being.
I think you just nailed it. It's all question marks. Yeah. It's all question marks. And we're about to find out very quickly.
Yes.
Because, as I stated, today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably in about 2 days, one of those guys is going to think that they were going to be getting a lot of reps, and then coach is going to say, no, first team. And then the first team's going to run, and then they're going to say twos. And all of them are going to step up like they're supposed to be on the twos. And they're going to say, no. We need you, or you stay back a little bit. So all that talking sounds great. All the depth sounds awesome. But eventually there's only a limited amount of reps that everybody can get. And somebody's going to step above the rest. And so usually in position battles, somebody is an established one and everybody else is sort of fighting for reps. I'm assuming that established one is DK in this situation.
Yes.
But his reps are up for grabs too because he hasn't proven himself at the position.
Yeah, and DK being the one, that doesn't mean he's going to go out there and get 20 carries a game. I don't know if that's necessarily what the game plan is going to be with this offense. If anything, I think it's going to be very much backed by committee where all these guys are going to get some degree of cut touches every single game because, Takarion Joyner just, up to this point in his career hasn't had to be because he's played just about anywhere and everywhere on the field. But, I don't know if he's going to be the guy that you can count on toting the rock 20 times a game. You may want to split those carries up a little bit more. And Juju McDowell, not somebody that typically gets double-digit carries a game, but he's going to have to step up his production a little bit there. And Cam Salen's kind of the wild card here. You throw him in there, just as another body in that room at camp. As Coach Beamer mentioned, he did a lot of things in high school, was a quarterback. So you're kind of having most likely a similar skill set to what Takarion Joyner is able to bring in the room. He's big. He's 6'3", 214. So that's somebody that maybe you can use in more goal line situations just because of his size to kind of penetrate through that line a little bit better. But, given the depth that we already have at tight end, given the fact that that was his natural position coming in, or that's what they had slated for, that you really can't lose in this situation. If he ends up being something as a running back, great. If not, you just send him back over to being a tight end.
Yeah, so he'll figure out his spot. And as I said, those reps are going to be up for grabs. So for all of those folks that are in that situation, every specific rep is going to count, whether that's through drills, teamwork, scrimmages. They're being constantly evaluated because those questions have not been answered yet.
Yeah, but between Jaheim Bell and now Cam Salen, there's something about South Carolina tight ends that just like being running backs, I guess.
We're just going to hope Dow Loggins decides to use Cam Salen in a different way than, used Jaheim Bell.
The good thing, and again, we talk about it, we've yet to see Dow Loggins call a single play in college football. So it's completely wide open to what it's going to look like. But I feel like coming over as a tight end coach from Arkansas, I feel pretty confident he's going to take care of the tight ends. And especially when you look at just the size of guys like Trey Knox and Josh Scheinman and what their versatility can be. I don't think we're going to be talking about those guys getting zero catches zero targets through the first half of a game. Like, was that in the Missouri game with Jaheim Bell last year?
0 targets in less than 20 snaps.
Yeah. And
I don't know why he didn't get any snaps.
I'll say, you look around and he's not here anymore.
Yeah,
he didn't wait for the new offensive coordinator. He went ahead and he found himself another home.
Correct.
So,
correct.
But yeah, and that's the thing too, that we went through spring practice and we saw a little bit in the spring game. It was very vanilla, obviously, but we're just clamoring for something to say, okay, this is what the offense is going to be. And until they kick off in Charlotte here in 29 days, we're going to fully know.
Yeah, you're not going to know. And even then, as Shane said earlier, the first game is not indicative of what the last game is going to be like. We know that. But the first game is you just run out of time in preparation. Like, if we could study for this test for another 2 weeks, of course we would know more. But we only have this amount of time. And what we're going to need to know going into this test, you're going to have to take it.
And I imagine that the few minutes of practice that Meany does get to see Colin and Wes and Chris, they're probably not going to see too much on the offensive side of things. That's going to be kept under wraps as long as it can.
Yeah, but if you have an astute eye, there'll be some information you can glean because you can't hide it. When I'm talking about an astute eye, I mean, who's taking reps with which group? Who's in the front of the lines? Who's over there on the other field as opposed to the offensive or defensive field? So there would be some information that you can glean, but you're not going to be seeing Dow Loggins' whole playbook.
No, not at all. Not at all. And again, even through that first game, we're not going to see everything that they're capable of. It's going to take a few games to like, okay, here's his kind of nuances. Here's what he likes to do. And here's kind of the personnel that he likes to run in these kind of situations. So like you said, it's going to be something that's going to evolve over the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, we'll come back. We'll wrap up the first hour of the early game here. And this is something that you wanted to talk about that came out a couple of days ago. What's the future of South Carolina and their relationship with Under Armour? Because that deal ends in February of 2026. So what happens next? We'll talk about that on the other side. You're listening to the early game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games? Well, now you can. It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway. Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win the ultimate season ticket giveaway. Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Hey, this is Jen, and I've been talking for months now about the flood that we had in the house when the pipes burst on Christmas Eve and everything that had happened within our kitchen and the rest of the house. The entire kitchen had to be gutted, and I'm talking completely gutted. All the cabinets had to come out, the walls, the insulation, you name it, everything had to come out. And I'm going to promise you, when it came time to think about cabinets, I told my husband, I said, just do it. I don't care. Just do it. I was not in the mood. I didn't want to go through trying to figure out where to go. Well, a friend of ours mentioned CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. They said, hey, they're great. They're a locally owned business. They're a women-owned business. So I gave them a try, and I'm so thrilled that I did. They helped us find those cabinets that really would work in our kitchen. It's kind of like a puzzle piece, putting everything together. And they helped us with that layout. And then that photorealistic rendering that I've talked about showed exactly what the kitchen would look like. And I mean, it was a picture of our kitchen when it was finished. It was fantastic for us to use so that we could get the rest of the kitchen put together. Installation, that process was flawless. Couldn't be more thrilled. If you need cabinets for your home and even maybe outdoor cabinetry, if you're looking at doing an outdoor kitchen, visit chwcabinetry.com for more information. Give them a call, 803-520-6837. And of course, be sure to tell them that Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Sponsored by Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives since 1922. Member FDIC.
If you think all banks are the same, come experience the difference at Security Federal Bank. Security Federal Bank has unmatched customer service and a hometown feel because we're a hometown bank. Security Federal Bank, helping people, changing lives. Member FDIC.
Sponsored by KFC. KFC's new Ultimate Barbecue Fried Chicken Sandwich is the chicken sandwich of summer. Extra crispy chicken, topped with delicious honey barbecue sauce, hickory smoked bacon, onions, and pickles. It's a barbecue in every bite. That's finger-licking good.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pigs Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pigs family looks forward to seeing you soon.
The 2023 Gamecock football season is almost here, and there's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information on season tickets, single game tickets, and our mobile passes. Options start as low as a $20 monthly subscription. Visit gamecockclub.com to learn more. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
America's fastest growing fast casual restaurant, Dave's Hot Chicken, has come to Columbia. 4601 Divine Street, right next to Moe's. Dave's Hot Chicken serves juicy, perfectly fried chicken coated in a secret spice blend that will blow your mind. Don't forget about the sides either. They have perfectly crispy fries, tangy kale slaw, and a signature mac and cheese that will have you coming back for more. Don't miss out on the best hot chicken in South Carolina, Dave's Hot Chicken, 4601 Divine Street.
At Atkins Law, we are proud alumni of USC. Since graduating, our attorneys continue to be proud supporters of Gamecock sports.
And we understand that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see on the field. There's practice, there's diligence, there's loyalty. All of those things we put into practice every day.
Remember, if you've been hurt on the job, who you hire matters. Call us at 803-251-6406 or find out more at hollyatkinslaw.com.
Sponsored by SC Johnson Raid. This can't keep your loved ones protected from pests, but Raid can. For 60 years, Raid scientists have worked to protect people around the world, including the ones you love most. Raid, protection for all.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
No accidents to report at this time. And really today, some clouds. Maybe you could see a pop-up shower. 89 for the high, cloudy and 93 for Saturday, and sunny and 93 for Sunday. Right now it's cloudy and it is 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen along with you on this Friday morning. You know, I'm always down for uniform and jersey talk, and I'm glad you wanted to talk about this because it came out the other day that Notre Dame, who back in the spring was shopping around for a potentially new apparel provider as their deal with Under Armour was set to come to an end, re-upped with them, signed, I believe it's the biggest apparel deal in the history of college sports, 10 years, $100 million between Notre Dame and Under Armour. And it begs the question of what is next for South Carolina as Under Armour. It looked like they were on their way out of college sports. They'd ended their deals with UCLA, Cal, Boston College, several schools in the past couple of years. It looked like it was coming to an end with Notre Dame. They had now invested more in Notre Dame than ever. South Carolina's deal with them ends in early 2026. The question is, what's next for the Gamecocks and who's going to be outfitting them?
Yeah, that's the really interesting question. And you haven't been here, so you haven't been able to see the ebbs and flows of this Under Armour thing.
I've gotten a sense from a lot of the fan base that
what's your sense?
They're not the biggest fans.
Yeah, so people are not the biggest fans as of now, and there's varying reasons why they're not the biggest fans. It goes from first it started with they wasn't fans because they felt like the shoes were problematic. We had some players that suffered some injuries where they thought that. Then it wasn't good because we thought that the uniform combinations weren't really great.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the fans thought those Under Armour polos are so darn expensive for an iron-on polo, and they didn't really know what that was all about. So there was a combination of factors. But going into this, we need to figure out what South Carolina is doing because they're beholden. And Under Armour is just sort of shaking this money bag around, and I don't know if they'll be able to get that type of money from anywhere else.
Well, I mean, Notre Dame is one of the most valuable properties in all of sports, so I doubt the money is going to be
We're not going to get
that good if they do end up reopening. Then maybe go to Nike, maybe become a Jumpman school.
Yeah, but you want to be at the top of the heap or at the bottom? I don't know.
It's a good discussion to have, and again, a couple more years on that deal before South Carolina potentially moves on to somebody else. Pretty interesting to see what happens. 1 hour in the books. Hour number 2 coming up here on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Gamecock catcher Cole Messina. You're listening to the home of the Gamecocks at 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, Now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Okay, so you're a guy. You don't feel as young as you used to. You're kind of dragging. No life drive, no sex drive. You have brain fog. You're not sleeping well. All sorts of stuff is going sideways. But you don't want to talk to anybody because we're guys. There's someone you can talk to. Dr. Dan Botnight at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Because honestly, what you could be going through could simply be low testosterone. One way to find out. A free consultation at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. 803-875-MENS or online, themensclinicsc.com.
Hey, this is Jen Jensen for CHW Cabinetry. My family is using CHW Cabinetry, and they are fantastic to work with. They make sure you're satisfied with every step of the process. Not only do their photorealistic renderings show exactly what your new space will look like, their job site guarantees everyone is on the same page, literally. Experience the CHW difference for yourself. Go to chwcabinetry.com to see more or call them at 803-520-6837 and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boost. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost, online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
What you're talking about on 107.5 The Game. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. No hassles, no all-day runarounds, no ridiculous add-on stickers. At Love Chevy, buying a car is fun. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
Bill Gunter.
Still working on that word that I was going for. Trying to remember what exact word I was going for.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
People don't like people that are non-people people.
Jen Jensen.
Still working on that word that I was going for. Trying to remember what exact word I was going for.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
107.5 The Game.
The early game. Hour number 2, 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head in for Bill Gunter once again this morning alongside Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass. It's camp day, day 1 of camp. I imagine all the players are probably up by now. It's 7 o'clock.
What a beautiful day for camp day. They all woke up this morning and prayed to whoever they pray to because there's clouds in the sky, a little bit of mist. It's a gorgeous day to start football camp today. I'm just looking at this. This is tremendous.
Yeah, looking at the forecast for today, it's 72 degrees right now. Looks like the high going to hit 89 in the middle of the late afternoon. And I don't know what the exact schedule, what they're going to be doing, when exactly. But I imagine they're not going to be going all the way until 5 o'clock today, right?
Depend. I don't know what time I think they do early practices.
Yeah, early practice.
And these days, these guys can only have one practice per day. So
they'll be wrapped by early afternoon. So yeah, they'll get it out of it before it gets too hot.
What
and yeah, should be fairly cloudy.
Oh, that's beautiful. You've played football. You know you've played football when you've laid on the ground and watched the clouds and tried to calculate the amount of time that cloud is going to get to the sun.
Yeah,
and try and figure out how long. Yeah, you become an expert meteorologist when you're on the football field. Like, okay, that cloud's going to be here. It's going to be here in about period 10. Okay, we're going to get a little bit of break.
Now, I have to ask this. We already know it's hot here in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
How, in terms of degrees, how much more do the shoulder pads, helmet, and everything you have to put on? And back in your day, there was no, I mean, was there a limit on padded practices, or you guys did it every day?
I don't know if there was a limit. I don't know what the limit was.
If there was a limit, they didn't adhere to it.
We did not adhere to that rule. We were padded very strongly.
So it's 100 degrees. When you put all that other stuff on, what temperature does it feel like?
I don't know because they didn't have. I saw LSU had these new cool air conditioned helmets. Did you see that?
I did see that.
We did not have that. In fact, the biggest invention was the Under Armour shirts.
Yeah, the cool shirts.
Yeah, like tight fit shirts. Like, man, they got these new shirts. It's not even cotton. I don't know what it is.
There's nothing worse than having a soaked sweatshirt because it's just heavy. It's hanging off of you. I can't imagine having that underneath like shoulder pads or whatever.
Everything just gets heavier and heavier. The more you sweat, the heavier everything gets.
And it gets all twisted and like all that just can't be comfortable.
Under Armour deserves their $100 billion for creating those shirts for sure.
Yeah, and obviously now all the apparel providers have caught up, but I think they were kind of the innovator on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if they were first, but they were the ones that brought it to the forefront. And man, when we got those shirts that they can stretch and they don't hold water.
Yeah,
tremendous.
Yeah,
it was an advancement.
Now, was Under Armour the apparel provider back then?
No, we were. I'll give you 3 guesses, Tyler.
Okay. Wasn't Nike.
Not
Adidas. Russell?
Woo!
Was it Russell Athletic?
Russell Athletic. Where you can find Russell somewhere in the dollar bin at Walmart currently today?
The last team that I'm aware of in FBS that had Russell Athletic was Georgia Tech.
Your guys,
before they switched over to Adidas.
I'm sure y'all made a lot of fun of that.
Oh, we definitely did.
The old Russell jerseys, yeah. Every time, matter of fact, when we go out to schools and there's I have a picture of when I played, and some of the kids like, "What's that?
What's that R?"
So let me tell you about Russell Athletics.
Now, Russell, they didn't make shoes, did they?
No, so I think maybe we might have switched between Adidas and Nike shoes.
Okay,
so we did not have Russell shoes, thankfully.
Now, and I recently just saw a picture of you from your playing days. Those were the mesh jerseys.
Big time mesh. Big mesh. I think the idea behind the mesh was that there's holes in them. You can get some air. Aerodynamic.
Breathable.
Yeah, breathable.
You can just get a sunburn easier.
Pretty much.
In just little spots.
Yes, absolutely. Heavy, just as heavy as everything else, just weigh you down. It gets wet and you just get pulled down to the ground.
So how do you feel now when you see teams, and I think Texas A&M did it, where they do throwbacks to the mesh jerseys, but it's just a printed design that Adidas.
I have not.
Now you've not seen that.
Not seen that.
I'll pull up a picture for you in a minute. But some of these schools, because that was like the 80s, the 90s, that was like classic mesh jersey, right? Like everybody was doing that. You think of like Brian Bosworth with Oklahoma, the big jersey and the mesh in the middle where like all the holes in the number 44, like that was quintessential 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and it was a bad look. Some things we don't need to get thrown back to. Some advancements are better.
They used to have tearaway jerseys.
Yeah, I was past the tearaway era.
Because there's that famous clip of Archie Manning when he played for the Saints, just getting his entire jersey ripped off in the middle of a play. What was the thinking behind that?
I guess the idea is if
maybe like so you don't get your like hands caught up in the
they weren't worried about safety, but it was all about advantages. Like if he pulls his jersey off, then can't tackle him. They were definitely not considering safety measures.
Yeah, I gotta ask. Like we talked about the air conditioned helmets from LSU. Now we have all these. Every single helmet has some kind of technology built into it. You have the Riddell with the big, hexagon thing on the front that's supposed to bend in when you hit somebody. You have the Schutt helmet with the moving plates on the top of it. I'm blanking on the name of the company that makes the soft helmet all the way around. But every helmet now, or Visus, however you pronounce it, makes the helmet that a lot of the quarterbacks like to wear. You have all this helmet technology, and back in your playing day, Everybody pretty much had the same thing.
Yeah, a shell. It was a helmet shell, and the real technology at that time was the air pump.
Yeah.
And you could pump and you could fill it up, and you'd be like, man, my helmet's feeling a little loose. Let me get an air pump and pump these little bubbles up. That was the real technology with them. But I love it. All this helmet technology is tremendous. I think
absolutely.
they borrowed a lot of technology from NASCAR.
Yeah.
And made a lot of advancements in as far as helmets. I mean, these companies have always done the best that they could at the time, but at the time, the advancement was there's little air pockets in your helmet.
Yeah.
And you pump it up and you get it as tight as you can, or you ease out some. But everybody had the same helmet.
And I'm very fascinated with helmets. I follow Helmet Tracker on Instagram that literally like keeps up with like this player wore this helmet last season, is now wearing this one this season. Like I'm more invested in it than the average person should be.
Check that out.
It's so intriguing to me. And like, you see clips of Aaron Rodgers out at Jets training camp. He's still wearing the old school shut helmet. I'm like, how is that helmet still legal today?
Yeah, it's probably not. If you remember Antonio Brown had that big thing with the Raiders where he's like, I don't want, and because your helmet is like a security blanket.
Yes.
It's the one, it fits to your head. It's molded perfectly. Like the idea of I'm going to go out there with a new helmet.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. Even if this one is technologically better and might save my life.
Sure.
This one is comfortable. It's all the nooks and crannies of this weird brain I got, or this weird skull I have. And this is my thing. So yeah, I mean, I played with the same helmet my whole career. You just get used to the way it feels on your head.
And Tom Brady tried his hardest to keep his helmet legalized for the last couple of years of his career, but the NFL is like, look, bud, you've had the same one since 2000. It's not good anymore.
We don't do leather helmets anymore, Tom.
Exactly. So he had to, and it's so funny because like him and Peyton Manning as well, at the end of his career, Riddell gave them their own like customized face mask, because a lot of like, especially for quarterbacks, the way you view things, the way you have certain face masks because you see things certain way, and you don't want to change that up. So it's so funny to me that Riddell threw those guys a bone and gave them their own like customized face mask to basically be the same as what they had before, just with the new obviously shell with all the safety improvements.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like, oh, this thing, I don't like it. You know? But it really is a security blanket for you. You just that's your thing. That feels, it conforms to your head, and it only fits you.
Now, have you tried on any of your players' helmets, the newer ones?
I haven't worn a helmet in 20 years.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
You're not the coaches. Let me get my helmet on and show you boys what it's really like.
No, thank you. No, sir.
When you hung up your helmet, you hung up your helmet for good.
That was it. It was a wrap. I'm not putting that on.
You still have your helmet?
I do.
Keep it?
Tyler, there's a long story about that. There's some Gamecock history involved in players from our years keeping helmets, but no, I don't have my helmet.
You don't have your helmet? Because nowadays, like they have like 3-4 helmets now.
Yeah, you have different colors and different face masks and all kinds of information. I don't know how much they get to keep or what they get to keep, but that's cool.
Because you guys had the white helmet
for the majority of my
career.
1 year we played with the black helmets.
You switched it up, okay?
But the helmet was black for the
entire season.
We didn't have alternate helmets. We just had black helmets for the season.
Yeah, and that's another funny thing about how much college sports has changed now, where a lot of teams have 2 to 3 different helmets and
even high school
combinations.
Sports.
Even high school sports, some of those high schools are like mini colleges up to this degree.
Absolutely.
And on that same note, I'm so glad the NFL changed their 1 helmet rule starting last season, where now teams can actually wear a proper second helmet for throwbacks, because we've gotten some beautiful throwbacks that are going to be taking the field this year. The Oilers with the Titans, the Creamsicles with the Buccaneers, which apparently that was very much hated back in the day, but it's become one of those things that, like, once it was gone, it took on this like cult following of like, man, these were beautiful. And now it's coming back where, back in the 80s, people were like, these are atrocious. We need to change these.
The thing was, no, it wasn't that the jerseys were atrocious. The team was atrocious.
Well, that doesn't help.
And so when you have a bad team, it's not going to be great for them to want to throw back to those terrible teams.
Yeah. The Panthers have a black helmet now.
Okay.
Which I think looks pretty cool.
Okay.
The Colts also have a black helmet, which people aren't as excited about. The doing black for the sake of wearing black doesn't always work.
I think that might be going out of style too. Like that had a moment, but I don't know if that's going to be working very much anymore.
And I don't know if Georgia popularized the blackout. It was obviously not as commonplace when they did it back in 2007, but the era of blacking out, whether that be your fans in the stands or the jerseys and uniforms that you're wearing, it did become very popular in college sports over a decade ago, and it still exists to some degree. But you look at some of these schools like Stanford. Black is not in their color palette, but they still have like an all black uniform.
I mean, the Ohio State black jerseys annoy me to no end.
Yeah, those
doesn't work. I'm like, who's that?
It looks like
Ohio
a different
State.
team.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not Ohio.
It's hard to figure out. Carlton weighs in on the live stream and says at Brooklyn Casey they have 3 sets of helmets.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's some high schools around that. Like, I mean, do we need 3 sets of helmets for high school? I don't.
Who's paying for this is a better question.
Your parents. Your parents is like, I don't think we need to pay for 3 sets of helmets. They're fine.
You got a good booster club.
Yeah, there's a lot of excess, I should say.
I could talk about helmets and jerseys literally all day long. when I play like NCAA football, like I never go with like standard uniforms. Like I always got to mix it up. And all right, we're gonna go black pants. We're gonna go red helmets. Whatever it may be. Like
you spend more time on the unis than the game.
Not that much time, but like I play like dynasty mode, and it gives you the option of like choosing your uniforms, choosing your opponents, and whoever my opponent is, always got to mix it up and give them a different look. I don't want your standard home or away uniform. That's boring to me. Let's go with your, because the game's 10 years old at this point. Let's go with your 2011 helmet and your 2013 jersey or something like that.
Got to mix it up. Like I said, we'll see. I'm interested to see what the combinations we have as the Gamecocks this year. See what they're going to be a standard definition. As during the Will Muschamp era, it was a big deal. The uniform reveals and Shane Beamer has not made it a big issue, which is really interesting.
I was going to say, now that we're starting camp, we're a month away from the season. We've not heard any rumblings about anything being different this season.
It doesn't seem to be a thing that Shane is really into, which is cool.
I do like, they had the old school throwback with the C logo on the side of the helmet. I thought that was pretty cool. It was something a little interesting, little wrinkle that they've added to the repertoire. But other than that, I mean, I don't think anything new is going to be trotting out there this year.
Shout out to the poor equipment managers who have to change the decals on those helmets every week, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, see, all those people that do all that work, nobody thinks about them. Those guys are like, "Bring your helmets in. We got to change the decals again." Here goes the block C's. A lot of
Never
work.
thought about that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I did see Florida is potentially going to roll out a black jersey this year. That got leaked the other day on Twitter.
That'll get Billy Napier fired.
That looks better than the Gator scale thing they did a couple years ago, at least. But still,
at least that was an attempt. But that won't.
Their attempt was made. It was not a good one.
Not a good look. Yeah.
All right, we'll listen to more of what Coach Beamer and some of the players had to say out of Media Day yesterday. Coming up next, you're listening to the early game. He's Preston Thorne. I'm Tyler Head. Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass here on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say? Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. At 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Preston Thorne here for Integrated Media. Integrated Media is the place that you need to call. Whether it's ready for the spring or the summer. The spring is over. Summer's here. I've been telling you about this all summer, and football camp has started. It's your time to get ready for Samsung Terrace TVs. Get them waterproof. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Or if you want to control all your devices from just one remote. That's my favorite. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or check them out online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
This is John Marks with a CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All right, NFL prediction time. The Rams aren't going to be good in 2023. Matt Stafford's coming off a serious injury. Cooper Kupp's already injured. And the constant chatter of head coach Sean McVay leaving football. Aging roster, depleted talent. The Rams are going to miss the playoffs again this season. I'm John Marks.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get 10% off all kitchen cabinet orders of $1,000 or more. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn double the bonus points on select stock cabinets through August 4th. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount barcode at time of purchase. Discount on cabinet purchase only. Coupon cannot be used with any other discount. Valid 7/27 through 8/9. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Keith here with Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. Summer's here and the real estate market's heating up. And if you're building or buying a new home, you need to contact 1075's longtime mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. If you've ever needed a guru, it's in this market. First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated here in the Midlands with local decision makers. Processing and underwriting are made easy. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Heath. People are buying and building. With school out, we're seeing a lot of activity. Here at First Palmetto Bank, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, ask me about our refinance options that require zero money out of pocket. Finally, if you're considering building or renovating a home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. If I can help you, give me a call today, 803-719-1005.
You're making mortgages easy, doing refinances with no money out of pocket, and helping people build and renovate. If you're moving, make Jacob Crowder your first call, 803-719-1005.
Thanks, 1075 listeners. You can also email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Sponsored by SC Johnson STEM.
When you see a roach over there, you want it gone. Ew. Fast. STEM's Bug Killer Trigger is powered by active ingredients found in plants and kills roaches faster than Zevo's Bug Killer Trigger based on lab testing on the most common U.S. cockroach species. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Hey everybody, a good Friday morning to you. It's time for another First Alert traffic update as we keep on into Friday. As we've seen, a couple earlier accidents this morning have since been cleared. Everything looking pretty good as we roll on forward today, as we're also seeing rain shower activity moving off to the east as well. While we can still see a little bit of damp roadways, we are going to be getting more in the way of some peaks of sun to try and pop through cloud cover that will be lingering around today. But nice to see. Now, if anything major occurs, of course, any really big backups, slowdowns, and confirmed collisions, we'll make sure to let you know later this morning. Otherwise, just make it a safe travel day. This has been a WIS First Alert travel check and traffic update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely been a thing said. You know, we're going to learn from it, study it, grow from it last year, just, continue to improve. Everybody on the D-line, the linebacker, the whole defense, we know it has to be done. We plan on doing it.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler, Preston, and Jen along with you on this Friday morning. That was the voice of Boogie Huntley yesterday. Speaking to the media, the question that, of course, he and everybody on the defensive line and those edge positions are getting asked is, how are you going to stop the run? And he did not give, a too detailed of an answer there, but obviously that's the focus of what these guys are trying to do differently this year. And obviously it's going to be a big focus as you go into camp. As a former member of the defensive line, if I tell you, hey, you need to stop the run better, how do you go about doing that?
I mean, that's your job. That's your number one job, and that's the skill set that they brought you here to do. So being able to stop the run, the first thing involves your will to want to do this, because stopping the run is not fun. It's not sexy. There's probably not a lot of statistics involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to take on the identity of, we're a team that stops the run. And what does that mean? That means holding your positions in gaps. That means taking on double teams unwillingly. A lot of the dirty work that, as I said, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet or even in something that anybody cares about. But those are the things that's going to take to stop it as a unit.
What do you do from a mechanical standpoint? How do you change things to improve on that?
The mechanics are going to be there. I mean, it's going to be the fundamentals of playing defensive line. You got to keep your hips low. You're going to lock out. You're going to play with leverage. All of those cliches that you hear, but they can do all of that. It's not going to be that. It's going to be deciding whether or not we want to stop the run or not. They're plenty strong enough. They're plenty fast enough. It's not going to be a matter of them getting out. They're not going to have anybody that's bigger, stronger, or faster than them. So they're just going to have to decide whether or not they want to do it.
And that's all they've heard this entire offseason. It's like, man, you guys didn't stop the run very well last year. You guys need to be better at that.
Yeah.
You guys need to be better at that. And, obviously for most people saying that have never been in the position of playing on the defensive line, especially at this level, it's easier said than done.
Yes, and I say that to say it's not an easy thing to do, because if there was an easy correction, they would have obviously made it by now.
Right.
And it's not even a mechanical correction where you can say, oh yeah, if you just put your arm here, you can stop the run. It's not going to be that. There are mechanical and technical things that you need to be able to do. As I said, playing with leverage, keeping your feet in the ground, not getting blocked, recognizing blocking techniques, all of those types of things. But more so, before any of that happens, you have to decide that you are the type of defense that stops the run. And that's a mentality that they have to have. You play the run in order to rush the pass.
I want to stick with the defense here. I want to play this cut number 38. This is Pup Howard, who is one of the highly touted freshmen that's coming in this year that we expect to be a solid contributor in the middle of that defense. And here he is talking about dealing with expectations.
I've kind of been going through this since middle school. So I've been under pressure since middle school, and I've always had high goals. But I know my goals and I know the end goal. So it's just day by day, not letting anything, get over the top. But it also starts with how I was raised with my father and my high school coaches. Like I said, in high school, it was a lot of pressure for sure, since I was playing as a freshman. And then getting a coach's change and then having to take on a new position as a leader in 10th grade. Pressure's been around me for forever. So, I'm able to handle it, and I'm really excited for what I'm going to do.
There's been so much buzz around Pup Howard even before he got on campus. And when he got on campus, he got to participate in the bowl practices leading up to the Gator Bowl. And, we heard from several players like, man, this guy looked like he's, been out there playing for years at this point. Didn't look like somebody that should be in high school at that point in time, and I know Bill interviewed him a while back, listened to him and some of his conversations with media yesterday. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like he's in a good headspace, very confident kid. How do you deal with those expectations, being somebody like him that is going to be expected to come in and play a solid role in this defense in year one?
Yeah. So the biggest expectations for him is that he said he's dealt with pressure through all those times. The only caveat to that is when he was dealing with pressure in middle school and high school, I presumably think he was probably the best athlete on those teams.
Right.
When he walks out there today, or when at North Carolina, he won't be the best athlete, only simply because of his age.
Sure.
And so he's going to have to figure out, how do I adapt and adjust to somebody else is as good or better than me, and how do I lean on my techniques and my teaching in order to make those plays? But I've listened to a couple of different interviews. He sounds as if somebody who has those leadership type of capabilities and qualities that you want from somebody who's going to be in that position to be thrust into playing early.
No, he's definitely confident, and confidence really goes a long way for somebody in a position like that, because if you believe in yourself, other people are going to believe in you too.
Also, man, I mean, middle school pressure. I'm trying to think of the most pressure I felt in middle school. Let's see, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What's is she gonna say yes or no on this note? I mean, I don't know. I hope. I just think like I was dealing with pressure since middle school. I'm like, no, man, you don't need that much pressure. There.
I think, is she gonna come to the game and watch me, and am I gonna ball out while she's watching?
The pressure of middle school. In 7th grade, I played JV baseball. I say played loosely. I literally, Tyler, had 3 at-bats the whole year.
Oh no.
So the pressure of holding up that bench on 7th grade JV baseball was a lot for young Preston.
Somebody's got to do it, man.
It taught me a lot. So I mean, I guess, man, you definitely have this idea of this is something I've been preparing for a long time. This is something that I wanted to do. And now it's actually here.
As somebody else that spent time on the JV baseball bench, somebody has to go out there between innings and warm up with the outfielders.
Man, can I get you your glove for you? First baseman, need a ball, helmet. I was very proficient in all the things that a good teammate does from the bench.
There's a point of pride on standing on the other side of the foul line and just throwing shag pop-ups to the guy in left field or center field or whoever's close to you. And, then you run back to the dugout and be like, I did something.
All right.
My arm hurts a little bit. I threw that one too far.
You know how sometimes you're on the bench and it's like, maybe I might play?
Sure.
I knew. I was like, I'm not playing. There's no way I'm going. It was like, Thorn, huh?
Huh? What? Me?
You want me? Okay. All right.
Thorn, we got some stickers. Get off those helmets.
Exactly.
Thorn, run to the concession stand. Get everybody some snacks. Yes, sir, coach.
Fill up the ice bucket. Yes, sir. Great times.
You always got to be ready, though, right?
But I guess I knew I wasn't playing.
Speaking of being ready, don't miss your chance to win the Ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, which is live right now on 1075thegame.com. Just head to the website, look for the Ultimate season ticket image, give it a click, and fill out that form for your opportunity to win. The winner will be announced at our golf tournament coming up on Friday, August 25th. Out at the Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Winning tickets gets you access to all the home football games, all the home men and women's basketball games, and all the home baseball games as well. Again, don't miss your opportunity to win the Gamecock Ultimate Season Ticket giveaway, the biggest one we've ever done here on 1075 The Game. Coming back on the other side, I want to touch a little bit more on conference realignment, have a good cut from one of the coaches out in the Pac-12 that is really saying the thing that nobody else has said up to this point that I really think is a good conversation to have. We'll hit on that coming up next. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the Ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win
The Ultimate Season Ticket Giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
It's not just preseason time.
Yeah, it does. And especially when you've got to be a contortionist to get to the stuff on Vox Pro, that makes it harder to spring it on you.
Yeah. You don't want to let the rest of the family down. So right now, today, tomorrow, you want to start
bingo.
properly by stopping by Old Timey Meat Market and picking up one of their great selections of steak, of pork, of chicken, of beef, maybe of a salmon, some fish. whatever it is, and you want to get a nice little practice in this weekend on that grill or smoker. And Old Timey Meat Market is the first fundamental way you start a great tailgate, because they've got the absolute best selection of various cuts and grades of beef, pork, poultry, seafood, even exotic meat. Florida comes to town this weekend. Are you ready? Or not this weekend. Florida comes to town in October. Are you ready to grill a little alligator? See, that's what preseason's all about. So go visit one of the 3 locations at Old Timey Meat Market: St. Andrews, South Congaree, or Lexington. Of course, we will likely find me. Old Timey Meat Market has been serving families here in the Midlands and making sure that they are happy with those great selections of cuts of meat each and every time. They'll continue to do it the right way. So go visit them. Again, 3 locations: St. Andrews, South Congaree, or Lexington. That's Old Timey Meat Market. Stop by. Tell them you heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner.
Playing hard left you with sore muscles? Consider cryotherapy. Embraced by athletes at the highest levels, cryotherapy is known for reducing inflammation while stimulating rapid recovery. It strengthens your immune system, increases metabolism, boosting your energy, not to mention cognitive clarity, for days.
Feel better than you thought possible in just 3 to 4 minutes with cryotherapy. Schedule an appointment at Icebox Cryotherapy at 4609 Forest Drive.
Swim season is here. That means making sure your pool is ready to be used. Call Corley Pool Solutions today. 803-445-8109. Let Tracy Corley, with over 20 years of experience, help maintain your pool and have it ready to use this afternoon. Give them a phone call, 803-445-8109. Corley Pool Solutions will treat and maintain your pool, and they'll do it all for a flat rate price, including all of the chemicals. Call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's a $7,500 sign-on bonus and increased pay for most security positions. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply now or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Suddeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SuddethAuto.com.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Honey, you need a trust.
Achieve an insanely clean home with Zerorez Carpet Cleaning. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 or schedule online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Do have an accident on Highway 321 near I-20. And there is a report of an object on the highway, Clemson Road at I-20. So just be careful if you are about to head through that area. 89 for the high today. Could just see a pop-up shower here or there. Definitely not a rain out. 93 with clouds tomorrow. 93 with sun on Sunday. We're up to a whopping 73 right now at 107.5 The Game.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head in for Bill Gunter once again this morning. Preston Thorne alongside me, Jim Jensen on the other side of the glass. Talked plenty this morning about, obviously, camp starting for South Carolina. We'll certainly have more audio for you to listen to as the show rolls along. But I want to jump back into this conversation about conference realignment because it's been so chaotic. And again, last night, the most recent news, it looks like Arizona is definitely going to be going to the Big 12. We don't know about Arizona State yet. And a strong possibility that Oregon and Washington could be headed to the Big 10 before too long. These are kind of the schools that we've been talking about in these past couple weeks. But there are other schools in the Pac-12 that are going to get left behind when all these schools eventually decide that they're going to go join a new conference, whatever that conference may be. And the unfortunate part for them is they're going to get saddled with whatever schools they end up bringing back in as patchwork to fill out the rest of the conference. Jake Dickert is the head coach at Washington State. And yesterday he went on a little bit of a rant about how we've gotten to this point and what it all kind of means. And here's what Coach Dickert had to say. One second. Cup 47.
Oh. Let's see if this will work.
Guys, we got to control what we can control. It's amazing to me, how, the old question, how long would it take TV money to destroy college football? Maybe we're here. Maybe we're here. To think even remotely 5 years ago, the Pac-12 would be in this position. It's unthinkable to think that we're here today. And to think that local rivalries are at risk and fans driving 4 hours to watch their team play in a road game and rivalries is at risk, to me is unbelievable. Okay, and I know our place at the table. But at the end of the day, Pac-12 football and Pac-12 brand, man, if we stay together, is really strong and we'll have a strong future. I firmly believe in that. So it's important, that we stay focused here in the now and maximizing what we can. But at the end of the day, I just think we'll look back in college football in 20 years and be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let's let our guys stay regional. Let's play. Let's preserve the Pac-12 and what it is. So I'll let the people that make those decisions. But at the end of the day, we can focus on right here, right now, and maximizing this team.
He's not wrong. And, I think about the position that he's in out there in Pullman at Washington State. They're not a very attractive team to these other conferences because, and I just looked this up, they are on the complete other side of the state from Seattle. And what do we talk about when you're talking about bringing teams into new conferences? Media markets. And okay, Southern Cal, UCLA, that's the Los Angeles media market, now going to get to be a part of the Big Ten. UW, Seattle media market. Eugene, you're talking about the entire state of Oregon at that point, or Oregon talking about Eugene, the entire state of Oregon out there. These markets are always the conversation piece. We're talking about Arizona, talking about Phoenix, Tempe, all these, Tucson, all these areas. Pullman's not one of those. I think the closest big city they're near is Boise, Idaho. That doesn't move the needle nearly as much. So he's literally watching this entire conference disintegrate in front of him, knowing that he's going to be left with whatever pieces are left over once all these big names go somewhere else. And again, it's all because of TV money at the end of the day.
That's 100%. And again, it's a money grab. What's feeding the what's feeding college football is also going to be killing college football.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing that they're just going to have to, we're all going to have to accept. Be careful what you ask for. We keep asking, man, we want playoffs. We want expansion. We want to make sure we have a national championship. Let's add more games. 12 games, 11 games is not enough. Let's add a 12th one. Do we need to have non-conference games or 10 conference games? Let's play all conference games. Cool.
Yeah.
We can do all of that. But for that TV product, eventually it's going to come a point where you're going to have, basically it's going to be two teams, two leagues, the NFC, the AFC. It's going to be the SEC versus the Big 20 or whatever that's going to end up being. Fox, ESPN.
Right.
And what they're going to do, and this is why it's really important for us to be paying attention. So I say us, I mean South Carolina. Yes, we are currently in the SEC. We think we're in a good place, but I remind you, we're in the middle of the SEC.
Yeah.
There may come a time when they say, you know what? All of you guys that are in mid-tier SEC schools, find another place because we're going to bring in all of these other schools. We're creating this really super league of teams. So,
yeah.
And then it comes to the point where these 20 teams are the teams that can play for the national championship. How about we just have them play each other?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thought that a lot of people have is like it's eventually going to come to the point where it's the SEC and the Big Ten. You may as well just call it the North Conference and the South Conference at that point. And, you know, when you look at the numbers, you have, I believe, 68 teams that are currently in Power 5 right now. It's like, all right, split them 34 and 34, you know, evenly between the conferences and go from there.
Well, why stop there? Why stop at 34? Why don't we just cut that 34 down to 16?
Who knows? It might end up being that way. And, you know, we talk about, you know, the push for like the college football playoff to separate itself from the NCAA, college football as a whole to separate itself from the NCAA. And if that ever happens, who knows where this goes from some point. But Coach Dickert makes a good point there is, you know, we're going to be looking back at this in 20 years and wondering how we got here, because it's going to look, you look at how much has changed in the past decade where, you know, 10 years ago, okay, Missouri and Texas A&M going to the SEC, like, man, that's a crazy thought, right? Like that they're not even in the Southeast. How is that going to make any sense? And now we're on the cusp of having a conference that stretches literally from, what is it? I forget the name of the town in New Jersey where Rutgers is. And maybe Jen, you can help me out with this one, but New Jersey to the West Coast in Los Angeles on the same conference. The Big 12 is going to go from Morgantown, West Virginia to potentially Tempe, Arizona, maybe even further than that. Who knows? But, you know, what was once established in geography and region, and as he mentioned, local rivalries is going out the window. Because I can guarantee you, when Washington goes to the Big Ten, the game with Washington State is probably not going to be on the table anymore.
Right. And it's going to be all for the TV audience. It's not going to be for people that's making the trip, because who can make that trip?
Yeah.
And it's I mean, this is just a diatribe on everything we see in the whole economy, but more money's coming in, prices are going up. Yeah. I got to pay more for travel, more for tickets, more for concession, more for parking. Who's going to want to do that?
But at the end of the day, the TV money matters more than any of that stuff. You know, they can play to a half full stadium. They're still going to get millions of dollars from that TV deal.
Because you know what the half full stadium would do? We'll just tarp out the upper deck with another sponsor.
Exactly.
Put a big sponsor.
We'll bring
on the top.
all the fans down to the lower part.
Just what it's going to be. I mean, like I said, be careful what we ask for, because we wanted expansion. We wanted to make sure that we had what do we have, an 18 playoff now, or 12, 15, 16?
Next year it goes to 12.
It's going to 12. We can't have that without inviting all these other things into the process. So just be careful what we ask for.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what happens. But
also the last part, all of this money coming into these not-for-profit entities, because these athletic departments operate as not-for-profit entities. That's very fascinating.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Very fascinating.
All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour of the early game. Real quick, though, I want to remind you about the 107.5 The Game football kickoff golf tournament coming up on August 25th out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. If you want to take part, give Charwood a call, 803-755-2000, 803-755-2000, $100 per team, $100 per person, $400 per team. Lunch provided by Firehouse Subs. Get them game away football tickets, Carolyn passes, and much, much more. Don't miss your chance to be a part of the 107.5 The Game Kickoff Golf Tournament. Come back and wrap up the second hour of today's edition of the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Life matters. As Britain's oldest man, Henry Allingham, turned 111, the band of the Royal Marines played Happy Birthday and vintage aircraft at a flyover in his honor. He was basically unknown, his story untold, until 6 years earlier, when at age 105, Allingham finally shared his horrific memories of trench warfare in World War I. As the forgotten records confirm to Britain's Veterans Association, Allingham was a real hero. He had waited 86 years to be honored for the shelling, bombing, brutality, and wounds he received in that frightful campaign. Sometimes circumstances convince us we are forgotten, but the Bible reminds us that the day is coming when God will honor everyone who labors with good deeds for him. Hebrews 6:10 says, God will not forget your work and labor of love which you have showed toward his name when you served his people. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service time.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This Thursday through Saturday only during our 3-day sale, save $10 on a total purchase of $75 or more with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Suddeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SuddethAuto.com.
Get ready to paint Charlotte garnet and black on September 2nd when the Gamecocks kick off the season versus UNC at Bank of America Stadium. Visit GamecocksOnline.com to secure your tickets today.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Bill Gunner for my great friend, Dr. Dan Balknight with the Men's Clinic. The Men's Clinic is a local clinic with a well-respected physician and Dr. Balknight that will oversee your health care. It's not like programs you see online. This will be tailored to your individual needs. So contact the Men's Clinic today, 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS, or you can visit them on the web and learn more. mensclinicsc.com.
Sponsored by Express Employment Professionals.
Looking for your next job? Express can help. Express Employment Professionals has put more than 10 million people to work in the last 40 years in all types of industries with competitive pay and no fee to help you find a job. What are you waiting for? Visit expresspros.com today.
Hey, everybody, a good Friday morning to you. It's time for another First Alert traffic update as we keep on into Friday. As we've seen, a couple earlier accidents this morning have since been cleared. Everything looking pretty good as we roll on forward today, as we're also seeing rain shower activity moving off to the east as well. But we can still see a little bit of damp roadways. We are going to be getting more in the way of some peaks of sun to try and pop through cloud cover that will be lingering around today. But nice to see. Now, if anything major occurs, of course, any really big backups, slowdowns, and confirmed collisions, we'll make sure to let you know later this morning. Otherwise, just make it a safe travel day. This has been a WIS First Alert Travel Check and Traffic Update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen wrapping up hour number 2. We're going back to our conversation about riding the bench. Monty weighs in the Firehouse Subs text line. He says, Preston, my Friday night highlight at Irmo High School was finishing the game with the cleanest uniform of any D lineman. I did it well.
Well, finishing the game with a clean jersey is better than as a D lineman having the back of your jersey dirty. You don't want to do that. So,
oh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So you can say, at least my jersey's clean.
Yeah, Mom, you ain't got to wash this one.
Yep. Like, don't even worry about this one.
No tide, no nothing needed. Just hang it back up.
Nah, yeah, I was not. Yeah. Just need to talk about the folks who ride the bench a little bit more, because that's probably something everybody can more so relate to.
We've all been there.
you should, yeah.
Well, because when you're coming up in like recreation baseball or football or whatever it may be, everybody has to get on the field. And the coach always look around, who hadn't played today? All right, get out there. Like, there's an element of like, all right, everybody has to contribute to some degree. When you get high school, it's not the same. It's like, if you're not good, you're not going to be out there on the field.
And it shouldn't be. And I'll firm in fact, I should have been sitting the bench. I was fortunate enough to be playing at JV, oh man, I wanted to quit so bad, and my parents were like,
my
ride this bench.
My last season playing baseball, I had 4 at bats the entire year, and I think I played a total of maybe 5-6 innings in the field itself. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, maybe this is the end of the line for me.
The trade stops here.
The aspiration of making it, and when you're just not out there all the time, you're not exhausted by if you're the one that's getting exhausted in the game, you're obviously not the one playing all the time. So it's like, yeah.
Right.
I saw this on Twitter the other day. Somebody put out there that, gets a lot of quote tweets and responses. At what point did you realize you weren't going to go pro at whatever sport you were playing? And it's like, when I realized that I wasn't going to get more than a handful of bats the entire season. That was probably it.
Oh, I can easily tell you mine. It was when Kalimba Edwards got drafted in the second round of the NFL draft. I was like, oh, there's no chance for me. If this guy was in the second round of the draft, there's no way. It's never going to happen. That dude, I've never seen somebody that looked like that and play like that.
Yeah.
He was only good enough to get in the second round.
Yeah.
Let's start taking these classes a little bit more serious.
You're telling me there's somebody better than him?
I never seen nobody that looked like that to this day. And I was like, 33 other people are better than him?
At least.
At least. Yeah, because I don't think he was the first pick in the second round.
Yeah.
Like, oof. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What were some of the names that you lined up against that you're like, geez?
Oh, yeah. And then, my freshman year, I tell the story all the time. Sean Andrews. Sean Andrews played with at Arkansas, and we were both freshmen. And Coach Strong was like, y'all are both freshmen. And we're like, he's not like me. We are not the same. He is totally different. And Sean went on to play for maybe 10 years in the league. And him and his partner, his other lineman who's still playing, I think he still gets signed every couple of years from Arkansas. I can't remember, not Sean Andrews. Man, I'm going to have to think of his name. I have to look it up. But he's still playing in the NFL. And we were both freshmen. And I was like, oh, we're not saying the same game.
Now, was that ever that teammate that everybody else knew that they weren't going to go much further, but they still believe like, man, I'm going to the league. I'm going to the league.
Well, you'll see a lot of those guys during pro days coming up here shortly, and it's they're running around trying to try out, and they're like, yeah, man, I'm signing with a free agent. I got a little chance to get I got an opportunity. I might be trying out for this team. Nah, bro.
Yeah,
it ain't happening.
And that's something last night, I was watching the Hall of Fame game with my wife, and we talked about the Hall of Fame game a little bit coming up in the next hour. But, she's like, oh, is this the real stuff? I'm like, not really. These are guys that are kind of trying to make the team low end of the roster. And I was like, there are guys out here tonight that this is going to be their only game. They're going to get cut, and they're never going to get another chance again.
Grand opening, grand closing. The first time I wore the Browns uniform was the last time I wore the Browns uniform.
Make sure your mama got some good pictures, because this is it. You maybe you can go play in Canada or something. But
as they say, you get your cup of coffee in the NFL, and like they always add on to it. Like my coffee was still hot.
That's a sip of coffee. Yeah. It's still very, very hot.
It was still hot.
Wow. All right, 2 hours down, 1 more hour to go. We'll dive back into what the coaches and players had to say at Media Day yesterday. Coming up next on the early game on 107.5 The Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is defensive lineman Alex Huntley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are the Gant girls. Chelsea and Madison. Some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boost. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost. Online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
This your captain. Better buckle your seatbelts for this one. I saw my passport expired, so I went to Staples, got a passport photo lickety-split. While I was there, I grabbed some tiny travel soap and shampoo. I should have got some from my co-pilot. Just kidding, Brad.
Staples has everything for travel. 10-minute passport photos, luggage, headphones, even personal travel items. And now at Staples, get $10 off your purchase of $30 or more when you buy a travel service. Staples, your first stop to nonstop travel. Ends 9/16. In-store only. Exclusions apply.
Introducing Herndon Certified. Herndon Certified used vehicles are quality assured and come with our 60-day warranty, complete with nationwide coverage. Don't just buy a used car. Buy a Herndon Certified used car and drive with confidence, knowing Herndon's got you covered. Find your perfect pre-owned in-store or online at HerndonChevy.com.
Herndon Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5, The Game.
What you're talking about
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. There are lots of places to buy your next ride, but there is no place like Love Chevy, where you never pay more than MSRP, ever. Come by and feel the difference of love. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen.
So anything you need, rain gauges and deer whistles, Jen's here for you. Preston's here on incredible football discussion.
Bill Gunter.
And I can help you with coffee and donuts.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
We've got a quality group here that knows how to cover all the bases.
107.5.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
The Game.
Eight o'clock on your Friday morning. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler, Preston, and Jen here this morning. Still looking outside over Gervais Street. Nice and cloudy still.
Beautiful.
Good line. Good.
Beautiful day.
Good for the guys getting set to go out there for camp on day number one. Going to get a little bit hotter later this afternoon, but they should be all wrapped up with their activities for the day, and hopefully not sweating too much today.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Beautiful day.
Yeah. So can't make any promises for the next couple weeks of it being like that every single day, but you'll take the ones you can get, right?
Really quickly, I wanted to add it. Looking on the break, the name I was trying to capture was Jason Peters.
Okay.
Who's the offensive lineman. He just maybe retired last year. He was just finished
with
playing.
the Eagles.
He was with the Eagles for 11 years. He was the Chicago Bears, Dallas Cowboys last year. Jason Peters was born on January 22nd, 1982. Preston Thorne was born on January 26, 1982. Jason Peters just retired from the NFL last year.
Wow.
I haven't put on a helmet in 20 years, as we just said. So,
But you have books.
there we go. I'm leading them.
Boom. There you go.
Inspired the
I have-
youth of America.
Take that.
I have 3 books, and he has 9 Pro Bowls.
I think you win.
You know what? Apples and oranges, right?
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, when I played against Jason Peters, I knew, like, there's another level to this thing.
What was that experience like?
Wasn't great.
Wasn't great.
Not great. It's not good to just not have
Did you end up on your back on that one?
back, side, front, basically. But the comforting part was it wasn't just me. He
Right.
tossed everybody around.
Yeah. And I did not play football at the level that you did in high school, but my closest comparison is wrestling. And there was sometimes, and again, it's all based on weight class, obviously, but there was some times where guys just had a certain look to them and you knew they were good. And the whistle blows, and 2 seconds later, you're on your back. And you're like, how did I get here?
That happened quick.
It's like, wow, that was fast.
All in my mind, I'm like, all right, let's try the counter move. Nope,
Yeah.
can't do that.
Or you go
What
and
about
like
this?
you go to like grab their leg and it's all like muscle, and you're like, oh, this might not go well for me.
Yeah, we're not the same.
Well-
So anybody that believes in astrological signs or anything like that, we were born in the same week, turned out different.
One time I was wrestling and I shot in on the guy, tried to like grab his legs to take him down, and I looked and he had a tattoo on the back of his calf, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's probably good. He was. I lost.
That reminds me of. That's funny you say that. It reminds me of when I was teaching and coaching our guys from Blythewood. They were looking at a opposing team that was coming into town. Let's just go ahead and say, if you're familiar with South Carolina geography, they were from Lancaster.
Okay.
And they were like, Coach, they got tattoos on their necks. I was like, we're just going to get through this one, fellas. Let's see if we can win. It was a long race.
Just do your best.
Just try hard.
That's funny. We'll get back into the football conversation. Again, Coach Beamer and a lot of players and coaches did speak to the media yesterday. One of the big focal points for this team is cleaning up the turnovers this season. And when you talk about cleaning up turnovers, that's going to start with the quarterback. And here's what Coach Beamer had to say yesterday about turnovers and Spencer Rattler playing a little bit freer this season.
Great question. I mean, I told Spencer last year going into the Tennessee game, I guess, that look, you can't go out there worried about making mistakes and just cut it loose and play free. And I'm not taking you out of the game if you throw an interception. Like, you're great when you're just playing free and having fun and being aggressive and cutting it loose. So we need him to continue to be that way. Bless you. Need him to continue to be that way without a doubt. But also being smart with protecting the ball. And we've broken down all the turnovers from last season. And some of it may be a poor decision by the quarterback. Some of it may be poor ball security when the quarterback's running. That happened against Missouri, was just carrying the ball poorly. So you can certainly harp on that as much as you want, how we're going to carry the football. But then also a lot of it, it's drops. It's an offensive lineman maybe missing a blitz pickup and turn a free rusher, a rusher free or whatnot. So you don't want to get in your head where you're talking about it so much and it's like paralysis by analysis. We're not trying to do that, making like a robot out there. But he and all of our guys, I mean, we're not going to go through a whole season without turning the ball over. Like, as much as I would like to, we're going to turn the ball over some. You want to minimize it and making sure that when you do, it's not because you're carrying the ball poorly and sloppy. It's, the defense just makes a great play. Like we've done that on defense a lot more than any of us, more than any SEC team the last 2 years. So that's going to happen, but let's make the other team earn it too when that does happen.
Well, Rattler certainly took what he said to him before the Tennessee game to heart, because he went out there, played loose, got 438 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions in what was one of the more surprising games of the entire college football season, with South Carolina pulling off that huge upset. But, like you said, we're going to turn the ball over. It's going to happen. Nobody goes through an entire season without any turnovers. You can't let it paralyze you and let it get hung up on it. You got to play loose, got to play free, put those things to the back of your mind once they happen to move on to the next drive.
And this is what's going to come with Spencer Rattler, because he has an electric arm. And part of him having that electric arm is he's going to try and fit the ball in tight spaces that other people would not be able to do. And so Spencer Rattler, a lot of times, it's like the old classic, no. Oh, good shot, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be that element to his game, and that's just what Coach Beamer and even Spencer's just going to have to deal with. And I won't even put him in a category of necessarily saying he's a gunslinger or anything like that, but he's just going to make some throws that other people, that their talent does not afford them to make. And with that being said, some of those will be drop passes. Some of those will be interceptions.
Yeah, there's inevitably going to be an interception or two this season. You go, why did he throw that? What was he thinking there? What was he looking at? And, again.
And I'm going to tell you what he's thinking. I have a great arm.
Yeah.
I can get it in there.
Yeah. And
that's what he's thinking.
And especially when you have the rapport that he has now with a guy like Juice Wells, having both those guys been here for over a year, and, they're going to feel like they have an even better connection they had at the end of last year, where they were really clicking in those last couple of games. There's going to be opportunities like, well, I know Juice can go up there and, even if it is 2 guys, I know we can go up there and jump higher than both of them, and he's going to be able to snag this ball. And that may not end up happening. But again, the thing is, and I don't know if it was this, conversation he had with Coach, or just the fact that he went out there and played so well against Tennessee, it really showed him, hey, if I play loose and fast, I can be fine. And goes out there and has good games against Clemson and Notre Dame as well. We just hope he continues that momentum and continues that mindset as we go into this new season.
Yeah, what you want to eliminate, I think, as Shane pointed out very clearly, is you want to eliminate careless turnovers with the ball, whether those are, getting out of the pocket, getting stripped because you just carrying the ball like a loaf of bread, like the coaches used to say,
yeah,
or running against the grain and throwing the ball back across the middle. Those type of plays you can eliminate. But the idea of I'm going to fit the ball in a tight window, or here goes a 50-50 ball to Juice and DB makes the play.
Yeah.
We're all going to have to accept that as part of the game, as how he is going to make us be a team that's successful.
And that's something when we talk about the concerns on the offensive line, you hope you're going to be able to protect him, obviously, give him time in the pocket to make his decisions and make his throws. Because, if you got somebody in your face on every single play, you're going to have more of those ill-advised throws than you would if you have the time to really think and kind of process what you're seeing on the field.
Well, the offensive line thing is also, we know that that's a group that's going to need some help, and it's going to be up to Spencer to give them that help by getting the ball out quicker, making the adjustments that he needs, not holding on to the ball or not taking too deeper drops, all of those types of things.
And this might, especially through those first couple games, you're trying to feel out that offensive line a little bit, have to rely on his athleticism to buy himself some time, roll out of the pocket, just give his receivers a few extra seconds to come more open, or, give him a few seconds to read things better, while if that offensive line isn't able to give him the protection that he wants.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and Ndamukong Suh was talking about, as a defensive lineman, some of the NFL quarterbacks that essentially they asked him who was the best quarterback. And he's like, it's got to be Patrick Mahomes. He was like, nah, not really. It's guys like Aaron Rodgers. He said Tom Brady, when they are on, they effectively make a pass rush moot.
Yeah.
Because they're getting the ball out so quick. They're making their reads. They're doing so many things with the ball that you almost feel like giving up as a defense lineman because you don't think you'll ever get back there.
Well, how many times have you seen Aaron Rodgers standing in the pockets, collapsing around on me? He takes that 2-step to the left, and suddenly he's bought himself 3 or 4 more seconds, and then chucks it down the field and finds Randall Cobb for a touchdown.
Absolutely. So that's what Spencer's going to have to do, and he's going to have to take more of the responsibility. So as Shane said, yeah, you can break down the anatomy of a turnover. It can be based on everybody probably did something wrong, but Spencer's the guy.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to take more responsibility for any turnovers that happen. Yes, it probably could be blamed maybe a little bit on the O-line or pass blocking or whatever the case is, but you're the guy this year. We're expecting you to be the guy, so you're going to have to take more responsibility for it.
Yeah, a total of 27 turnovers by the offense last year. Try at least cut that number in half, right?
You just want to win the turnover battle, as he said, because you're not guaranteed. Obviously, the defense is going to try and play well, but you're not guaranteed to have that many turnovers on defense.
Sure.
And you don't want your team to be reliant on defense having to make a play on a turnover in order for you to win games. So you want to cut that down as much as possible.
Was it the Florida game last year? Was it 3 straight possessions with a turnover, I think, at one point during that game? Now, that whole entire game was kind of a mess, but I believe there was a couple of possessions in a row with several turnovers consecutively.
I try to erase that game out of my memory.
I know everybody does. It was ugly.
That game was so tough to watch that I elected to go buy a washer and dryer.
Wow.
At halftime.
When you knew that it was over.
Yeah, I was just like, let's just put myself through more pain. Let's just make this day all bad.
But, it's funny to think about now. Let's say they go down to the Swamp and play a tight game and lose 28-24. Are they able to do the same thing the next week against Tennessee that they did? Who knows?
That's the quirkiness. You never know.
Because it's like you went from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs in 7 days.
Warp speed.
Yeah, and if you play a grinded out game against that Florida team, maybe Tennessee doesn't happen.
Yeah, maybe sometimes you have to they had to get that low to figure out, okay, we have to change something.
Right.
We have to address some of the issues that are causing us reasons why we're not successful.
Because everybody written them off like, well, they're going to go 6-6. No way they're beating Tennessee. No way they're beating Clemson. And we all know what happened.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to do this for a living and make predictions on the radio, so I'm always going to have to stand by those things. But I was one of those people who wrote them off.
Of course.
There was no evidence. There was no evidence to point to the contrary.
How could you know? Gamecock Larry was probably the only person that had them picked to win both of those games last year.
Yeah, you're the only person that could. But again, we never know what's going on inside those walls, inside the buildings. We don't know what's happening.
That's right. We'll continue on with our conversation about football. We'll touch a little bit on the Hall of Fame game last night and what might be bothering Preston Thorne about something we saw on TV last night. You're listening to the early game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
I think it's the fact that he just loves special teams.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
His meetings are always.
This is John Marks with the CBS Sports Minute. 1 year ago today, WNBA star Brittany Griner was sentenced by a Russian court to 9 years in prison for drug smuggling and made claims she was being used as a political pawn between the U.S. and Russia. She was detained for nearly 10 months in a Russian prison before a deal was worked out for her release. Griner came back to the WNBA this season, but has recently taken a break to focus on her mental health. And hopefully, it helps her moving forward. I'm John Marks.
DQ presents... That's the sound of someone seeing the DQ $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone deciding if they want the original cheeseburger or 3-piece chicken strips with their $7 meal deal. And that's the sound of someone digging into their choice of original cheeseburger or 3-piece chicken strips, plus regular fries, a drink, and a sundae. Sounds pretty good, right? Grab the full-size $7 meal deal only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, get 10% off all kitchen cabinet orders of $1,000 or more. Plus, MVP's Pro Rewards members earn double the bonus points on select stock cabinets through August 4th. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount barcode at time of purchase. Discount on cabinet purchase only. Coupon cannot be used with any other discount. Valid 7/27 through 8/9. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has great prices on all the back-to-school essentials. Now you can save even more with $25 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $75 or more. Rewards members only, ends August 5th. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
Preston Thorne here for the Red Shirt Guys Roofing, where they believe roofing is a craft, not a commodity. They are committed to staying up to date on the latest installation techniques and products. That's why they are the Midland's highest-rated roofing company. The Red Shirt Guys do the right thing on and off the roof, and they will be here long after the job is complete. Residential or commercial, choose the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. Request a free quote online or call them. 243-3968. TheRedShirtGuys.com.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worry. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
The 2023 Gamecock football season is almost here. We need you to help us paint Charlotte garnet and black on Saturday, September 2nd. Your South Carolina Gamecocks kick off the 2023 football season against the University of North Carolina Tar Heels in the Dukes Mayo Classic at Bank of America Stadium. Visit GamecocksOnline.com today to secure your tickets and help us paint Charlotte garnet and black on Saturday, September 2nd. Go Gamecocks!
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
29 days till kickoff.
While others take full advantage of the market with ridiculous add-on stickers, Love never sells above MSRP. Come experience the difference at Love Chevy, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thorne, along with you on this Friday morning. Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass. Football returned last night. NFL Hall of Fame game. Got to see the Jets and the Browns play each other a little bit. How far into this game did you make it last night?
I didn't start the game, but I did see 6 plays.
You saw 6 plays.
Count
okay.
them, 6.
That was enough for you?
Yeah, it was fine. I saw DTR.
Okay.
Playing Darian Thompson Robinson. I was always intrigued with him in his college career. I saw him play a little bit. I saw Kellen Mond throw an interception, which tracked or what I've always thought about Kellen Mond. So I was like, sounds about right.
That was enough for you.
I was good. My scouting report seemed fair.
It at least, seeing NFL football on TV at least kind of gets you back into like the mood of like watching football, and we'll have like preseason games starting for real coming up next week, obviously, and then we're on the fast track to the season starting. But there is something special about finally seeing two NFL teams on the field at the same time.
And it was kind of comforting to see my good friends Mike Tirico back and Chris Collinsworth. Like,
he did the slide, man, the slide in.
Like my guys, we're here. Okay, all right.
Chris Collinsworth can be insufferable at times, but there's something charming about it in a way. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You just know this guy. It's like, okay, I know Chris is going to give some nonsensical take here, but no problem.
Now here's a guy, that's a good go-to for him. And I like Mike Tirico. I still miss the combination of Chris and Al.
Yeah. I mean, Tirico's a quintessential professional guy. He's buttoned up to the T, so maybe it might be a little dry at times, but he's just so good that you don't even notice him a lot of times.
NBC sends Mike Tirico everywhere.
Yeah.
He does the Kentucky Derby. He does the Indianapolis 500. This guy, and I don't know what sports he grew up watching. I don't know what sports he's the biggest fan of, but when I tell you he knows everything he needs to know for a broadcast, he does. There is no question in my mind that Tirico is prepared every time that camera comes on.
He's tremendous, but it's not going to be. He's just very consistent. Just every week in, week out, he does a great job of letting the product speak for itself. Because you don't need a lot for it. You just need somebody to just guide it through.
Meanwhile, Al Michaels is stuck on the doldrums of Thursday Night Football, watching the worst game of the week.
Exactly.
I didn't know the story behind it until later, but I was surprised to see DeMarcus Ware singing the national anthem for the game last night. Did you catch this?
I didn't. So I saw that he said he sung. I still haven't seen a video of him singing. Really quickly, on a scale from Carl Lewis to Whitney Houston, where does he rank?
Way better than Carl Lewis.
Okay, all right.
So, is he the most proficient singer? No. It was solid though. I give him a solid 6 probably.
Okay, that's great.
And again,
because the national anthem is notoriously tough to sing.
It is, because you have a lot of highs and there's a lot of pitches you got to hit and stuff like that. And obviously Whitney Houston just blew it out of the water completely. Nobody's gonna compare to that. But I give it a solid 6. And I didn't know why he was doing it until later, and he got interviewed on the broadcast, and he was talking about during his time with the Broncos, he and Demaryius Thomas would stand next to each other before the game, and they would sing it together. Obviously, Demaryius Thomas passed away 2 years ago, so that was kind of his tribute. And DeMarcus Ware getting inducted in the NFL Hall of Fame and got his, part of the little ceremony before the game. So that was kind of his way of showing love to his former teammate.
Yeah, that's an awesome tribute. I didn't know that. And that's a really cool story. For all the folks that were around way back in the early 2000s when DeMarcus Ware was playing, he came through Williams-Brice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we played Troy State, and another one you clearly looked up. You're like, what is he doing playing on Troy State?
That guy's pretty good.
Why is he on that team?
That also shows you how long it's been that they were Troy State back then.
Exactly. It wasn't just Troy. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely clear looking out on the field. Like, I don't know who that dude is, but something's different.
That's the funny thing about how many of those guys can kind of slip through the cracks. I mean, look at all the NFL Hall of Famers that played at like FCS.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, how did these guys not?
Yeah, there's all kinds of
D1.
So many different reasons. It could have been. I don't know DeMarcus Ware's personal story, but late bloomer, grades. He was playing in some remote town in Alabama that didn't get the filming. There are all types of reasons that reasons happen.
And that's a big thing. And maybe it's not as prevalent now as it was back then with camps and all this kind of stuff. But, you can look at a superstar player in single A or double A, and it's like, well, the talent pool he's going up against is not what they're at 6A or 7A or what it is. And, those guys can tend to get overlooked a lot. But again, athleticism is athleticism. They can get into one of those smaller schools, just completely ball out. Like, wow, how do we miss this guy? It's like, well, he was playing in a town of 300 people. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. And DeMarcus was tremendous. So yeah, I did not know that story. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, Joe Thomas, one of the other ones that is getting inducted, the lifetime Cleveland Brown, which that in and of itself,
he deserves
it.
He deserves it, man, to play all those years. And he had that consecutive game streak for not for his whole career, but for a long time, I'm sure.
If it wasn't his whole career, it was a very long time, very close to it. But yeah, very reliable. And I think I saw a list a couple of years ago about every quarterback he had to protect. Well, I think it was like 15 or 20. It was some ridiculous number.
It was way more quarterbacks than the length of his career, but the courage to suit up every week for the Cleveland Browns and just know we're gonna get pummeled. And I'm just gonna be a Hall of Famer on this terrible team.
Yeah,
like you have to salute that amount of professionalism.
And I'd forgotten about this until I was listening to Eamon Lawrence driving in this morning. There was a lot of conversation about him potentially getting traded to the Broncos about 10 years ago, and there were a lot of Broncos fans that wanted to, or not Broncos fans, Browns fans that wanted to see that happen because they knew he wasn't going to win a ring with them. So it's like, man, go to the Broncos, play with Peyton Manning, go get your ring. Like you deserve it. But he decided to stay in Cleveland. That's where he finished his career. And, despite the fact he never got a ring, he's beloved by everybody in Cleveland. It always will be.
Yeah, and he kind of started his career off because I remember he was one of the first guys who got drafted so high, and I think he was out fishing with his father, and they were like, "Where's Joe Thomas? He's not in the green room," and he's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna be out here fishing." Really quickly, because there's a connection here.
Okay.
List of signal callers that Joe Thomas blocked for.
All right.
Charlie Fry, Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, Ken Dorsey, Brad Gradkowski, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Colt McCoy, Brandon Whedon, Thad Lewis, Brian Hoyer, Jason Campbell, Johnny Manziel, and our great beloved Connor Shaw.
Wow. How about that?
The list doesn't end there. Connor Shaw, Josh McCown, Austin Davis, RG3, Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser, Kevin Hogan. Joe deserves everything that he gets.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot RG3 went to the Browns, to be honest with you.
And you just think Joe's walking into the huddle. He's like, really?
Who are you?
Brandon Whedon? Are you serious? I got a block for Brandon Whedon.
Now, Whedon was the first round pick.
I mean, some of these guys
were. A lot of those guys were first round picks. A lot of these
guys they just didn't end up being very good. But
there's that famous the jersey the person has where they cross out the name and just add another one to the list, and it's like goes all the way down their back.
And to think about, these guys were not very good, all of them as a collective.
Right.
They can't say that, oh, my blind side was protected. They weren't giving up any sacks on that side.
Exactly.
It was just like you sit back there as a quarterback, you know that your blind side is 100% protected.
This side is good.
Yep. And you still can't get it done.
Oh, man. Well, it looked like they had something promising going with Baker Mayfield a couple years ago, and now he might lose his job in Tampa Bay to Kyle Trask.
Oof. Yeah. Baker's relegated to backup.
Yeah. He had his opportunity. I think his time has come and passed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but brighter days ahead for the Panthers. That experiment was short-lived.
Very short. Very short.
All right, we'll continue on with today's edition of the early game. Tyler Head in for Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass. Real quick, want to remind you once again about the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway that's live right now on 1075thegame.com. Just go on the website, click on the ultimate season ticket icon, and fill out the form for your opportunity to win tickets to all home football games, all of the home men and women's basketball games, and all the home baseball games as well. Winners will be announced on August 25th at our golf tournament out at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Don't miss your chance to be a part to win the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway. We'll have more of the early game coming up right after this.
How would you like season tickets to all Gamecocks football games, baseball games, men's and women's basketball games?
Well, now you can.
It's the ultimate Gamecock season ticket giveaway, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. You can win tickets to every USC football game at Williams-Brice.
South Carolina punctuates a massive upset.
Every Gamecock baseball game at Founders Park.
The Gamecocks strike first, a 2-run shot from Ethan Petrie.
Every men's and women's hoops games at the CLA.
One undefeated team left in the nation. It's the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Just go to 1075thegame.com and register to win
The ultimate season ticket giveaway.
Sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, from your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Trust, we want trust.
New Silverados are on the ground now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. We're taking up to $15,000 off to get you in your new truck. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits, like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
Edel Wine Pool and Spa is your one-stop shop for all things swimming pools and hot tubs. New construction of vinyl, fiberglass, or gunite swimming pools, as well as liner replacements, weekly maintenance, repairs to existing equipment, or upgrades. Come see us at 5541 Sunset Boulevard to check out our full line of spas and where we offer free water samples and all the chemicals you need to keep your pool and spa clear and clean. Edel Wine Pool and Spa. You'll find us on Facebook or online at edelwinepools.com.
Every day, you breathe in thousands of tiny little germs, allergens, and viruses. Don't let these invisible invaders make breathing through your nose impossible. Flush them out with Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, helping flush out everything that makes you miserable. Nearly 4 million people use Navage to breathe better, snore less, and feel healthier. People like Dan, a verified Navage user who writes, I've had trouble with my sinuses for decades. I always thought something like this was a gimmick, but one use and I'm hooked. I should have bought this a long time ago. The results are immediate and incredible, unquote. If you suffer from sinus congestion, allergies, or snoring, then Navage is the safe, drug-free solution you've been looking for. Navage is at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and Navage.com. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
From local town councils to Capitol Hill, agents who are realtors are standing up for what's right. We're here protecting property rights. Here advocating for the issues that affect our neighborhoods. Here championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all. Here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
When you open your hopper, you don't fill it with just any hardwood pellets, right? You fill it with Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Made right here in the USA with North American ingredients and a 100% natural hardwood blend, Kingsford pellets can be used on any pellet grill and add delicious smoky flavor to any meal. Kingsford's the name you trust for the low and slow cooking you crave. So look for Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Kingsford.com.
Fresh produce is the best produce. That's why at Kroger, we invest in local farmers to bring you the freshest seasonal picks. So no matter how you shop, your local produce always tastes 100% fresh, or you get a 100% refund, guaranteed. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save with summer Freshtival deals on 12-pack cans of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Just $3.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Things have picked up on the highways this morning, so we'll kind of get through that list. Crane Church Road at Fairfield Road. Also, I-26 westbound between exits 101 and 97. I-77 northbound at Garners Ferry Road. We have a report of an accident there as well. Disabled vehicle, Piney Grove at I-26 might be impacting traffic just a little bit. 89, maybe a pop-up shower here or there today. Certainly, it's not going to be a rain out. 93 with clouds tomorrow, 93 with sun on Sunday, cloudy, and 75 right now. 107.5 The Game.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game on 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head, Preston Thornton, Jen Jensen on the other side of the glass, talking plenty about camp getting started today. Obviously, we got to hear from Coach Beamer as well as several players and all the coaching staff yesterday out at Media Days. And one thing that is always going to be a focal point of preseason camp is position battles. And here's Coach Beamer talking about that yesterday at Media Day.
Yeah. How the offensive line shakes out is one. What does it look like from left to right? We talked about it before. We've got guys that have played multiple positions. So when we line up against North Carolina in game one, what does it look like at all 5 spots? But then also we're going to play more than 5 linemen. So who's 6, 7, and 8? Because we're going to rotate guys in there. To me, that's one position battle starting wise, and then just the rotation in general. I would say defensive end. Tyreek Johnson's had an awesome summer, and I'm excited to see Tyreek can be a really, really good player for us. He already is, but he can be a really impactful guy for us. I'm excited to see Tyreek to continue to progress. JT came in from Syracuse. What does he do? Jordan Strawn coming back off of his injury from last year. Terrell Dawkins, Desmond, Brian Thomas. There's a lot of guys there, and it'll definitely we'll rotate multiple guys. But when we line up in game one, who are the first 2 guys that go out there? That to me, that's one battle. We got a lot more depth at linebacker than we've ever had with Debo and Stone and Mo Kaba coming back off his injury, and Pup and Bam Scott. That's a really fun group. So how that shakes out as well, and if you say that O'Donnell Fortune and Marcellus Dial are our 2 starting corners right now, who's the third guy, at the corner position? Because all of our guys in the secondary, just like the offensive line, those guys in the secondary, we want them to be able to play corner. We'd love for them to be able to play nickel. Then we'd love for them to be able to play both safety positions. And for the most part, they can. So who are our top guys there, is a question mark. And then the receiver rotation. We're not going to play the same 3 receivers the entire game. We're going to rotate guys in there to be able to keep them fresh. And if we're going to play 6 every game, which is basically what we did last year, we had a 6-man rotation. Who are those guys? And obviously Juice and Leggett and AB have played a lot of football, but who's the next group beyond them as well? So I really, I could go through every position, but those are the ones that, stand out, I would say, as we go into it.
Obviously, anytime you get into a preseason camp, there's going to be position battles, and all the spots that he listed off there, offensive line, defensive end, these are the positions that we knew were going to be conversation points about who was going to be starting and what that exact lineup was going to look like.
Yeah. Every camp, there's position battles. We tend to focus on whether somebody's fighting for a starting position, but at every single position, somebody's fighting for reps.
Right.
And so when he talks about that concept of start at the wide receivers, when he talks about the idea of we're going to rotate 6 guys, rotate is a loosely used word because we can be rotating as in you get 50% of the snaps, I get 50% of the snaps, or we could be rotating as in whenever you tap your helmet and you're tired, I go in to give you a break.
Sure.
There's a big difference in that. And so, but that difference usually comes in how well that second person plays. So the person that's backing up Juice Wells, Are they going to be rotating with him, as in you play, I play, you play, I play, or is it going to be, man, Juice just ran a 9 route. He ran 70 yards downfield. He taps his helmet. I go in to give him a breather, and now Juice is back in. And so, and also that determines on how much the coach trusts you.
Sure.
If I trust you, I can let you get some more snaps. If I don't really trust you, you're just here. We're going to make sure we throw the ball to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
You just do something, and you come out of the game. So all of those things are being decided as you talk about position battles.
And, wide receiver is an interesting position that you bring up there because, look, we know Juice Wells is expected to be number one guy, Xavier Legette probably going to be that number 2. But when you think about everybody after that, Amirian Brown, you bring in Eddie Lewis from the transfer portal. Elijah Caldwell's getting a lot of conversation during the offseason. Oh, by the way, Nick Harbor is going to be playing wide receiver. You have so many question marks about who is going to be that third guy, maybe that fourth guy, and how many reps they're going to get, how many targets they're going to get. And, figuring those kind of things out over the course of these next couple weeks is going to be key to what the game plan is going to be when you start the season.
Yeah, same thing. Defensive lineman. In that position battle, he was talking about the defensive ends, where there's maybe not necessarily a true starter who has that position locked down. I think if you're looking at the defensive line across the board, maybe the only 2 people who have positions, I would say, securely firmed are Tonka Hemingway and Boogie Huntley. I assume.
Sure.
Everybody else, that's a real position battle. That's position to see who's going to be at the top of the depth chart. So what you're going to really see is those guys splitting rips during camp. Somebody's going to come out to where you're on the first team, you're on the second team today. Tomorrow, you're on the second team, and you're on the first team. All of this is happening as camp is evolving. So when the coaches say, we don't really know, you can take that for the truth, because a lot of times they don't know.
And defensive line's a position that obviously tends to rotate through multiple guys. So it's not just one. It's not like quarterback where it's one guy playing the position the entire time. So, kind of figuring out who's going to get the bulk of those reps, who's going to be your main guy, who rotates in, like you said, when one guy gets tired or one guy's been out there for a certain amount of plays or whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, that is the big thing. So part of my career at South Carolina, I was Langston's backup. I was Langston Moore's backup. At the beginning of that time, I was the guy that was there when Langston tapped his helmet, which he did frequently. I don't know if he's listening. But when Langston tapped his helmet to come out the game, I had to go in the game. But as soon as Langston was ready to get back, he's going back in the game.
Get out of there.
Yeah. That was early in my career. Later in that season, I was still his backup, but it was more of this idea of, all right, Preston's going to get some reps here.
Right.
We can leave you out a couple of series, or maybe you can play 2 a series while Langston is clearly our better player, but we can afford some more time for this person to rest. And so all of that is really interesting, how you determine who plays and how much, especially at those rotating positions.
I think Langston's going to be on with Jay later this afternoon.
Oh, even perfect.
Make sure you cue
that up. Make sure you cue that up.
Says, man, you tapped that helmet a lot back in the day.
I'm just looking for somebody. Is that a tap of the helmet? Is he tapping his helmet here? As soon as he taps his helmet, going in the game.
I think he was just adjusting his trim shot. No, he tapped it.
He tapped. No, man. But that's how it really ends up working. So the real position battles are below the depth chart, below the starting.
Yeah.
Who's going to be second? Who's going to be third team? Or who's going to maybe end up getting redshirted or something like that?
Yeah, and of course, as we know, Shane Beamer and company don't like to let's too insightful on that depth chart until they have to.
We won't see it until week 1.
Yeah, and I think they get rolling at 9:00 today, and I know that Wes, Chris, and Colin are supposed to be out there, and what Wes has his favorite drill that he calls the depth chart drill, where it gives you a little bit of insight onto who's the ones and who's the twos, and maybe they'll get to see a little bit of that today.
Yeah, when you see them, when they line up on the cams pre-practice or something like that, and they're like, first group, you're like, oh.
So that's who's in the first group.
Okay. Also, sometimes as a player, that's when you're also learning who's in the first group too.
Like, oh. So I'm not. Gotcha. I'll just stand over here.
And the coach does this, one of these. You can't. This is radio, so you can't see.
You're getting ready to run out there, and he just
puts his arm up. He's like, no.
Stay behind.
Yeah.
But coach, nope. Stay here.
Oh, not in first group. Okay, all right.
I'm sure that'll be happening a couple times today.
Somebody will find out today which group they're in.
Sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll come back on the other side and wrap up today's edition of the early game and get you set for the rest of the day and the start of camp here on 107.5 The Game.
Friday, August 25th. Join 107.5 The Game for our football kickoff golf tournament. Our summer golf classic at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. 9:30 shotgun start. $100 a person, $400 for a team. Call Charwood at 803-755-2000. Lunch provided by Firehouse Subs. We'll be raffling off football tickets, Carowinds passes, and more. Our football kickoff tournament, the Summer Golf Classic, Friday, August 25th, from your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Sponsored by Family Dollar.
Find more school essentials at Family Dollar. Stock up on pencils, glue sticks, crayons, and binders. Show off your style with dorm room basics and get fresh with stylish apparel, all on sale now. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm, located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. The first step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me, John Ecton.
P-Dale Wine Pool and Spa is your one-stop shop for all things swimming pools and hot tubs. New construction of vinyl, fiberglass, or gunite swimming pools, as well as liner replacements, weekly maintenance, repairs to existing equipment, or upgrades. Come see us at 5541 Sunset Boulevard to check out our full line of spas and where we offer free water samples and all the chemicals you need to keep your pool and spa clear and clean. P-Dale Wine Pool and Spa. You'll find us on Facebook or online at PDaleWinePools.com.
Okay, so you're a guy. You don't feel as young as you used to. You're kind of dragging. No life drive, no sex drive. You have brain fog. You're not sleeping well. All sorts of stuff is going sideways. But you don't want to talk to anybody because we're guys. There's someone you can talk to. Dr. Dan Botnight at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Because honestly, what you could be going through could simply be low testosterone. One way to find out. A free consultation at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS, or online, themensclinicsc.com.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Still encountering a slowdown. I-26 westbound between exits 101 and 97. And an accident reported I-77 northbound at Garner's Ferry Road. So caution in that area as well. Could see just a couple pop-up showers today, but really just going to be cloudy. 89 for the high, 93 with clouds tomorrow, and sunny on Sunday. Again, looking for a high of 93. Right now, 75 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Welcome back into the early game. 107.5 The Game. Tyler Head in for Bill Gunter this morning. A couple more minutes to go, wrapping up today's edition of the show before I jump to the other side and do the extra point, or do the in the bonus today, as Colin is out at camp. So
Okay.
I'll be riding solo till he sees what he can see and can call in and give me some updates.
How many periods are they able to watch?
I think they said it's like 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I don't know how many periods that would be.
Well,
but
some real dork practice talk here, but sometimes they have their periods broken down in 5-minute increments. Some of them have in 8-minute increments. I don't know how Shane runs his practices.
I asked Wes what they usually get to see. He says a lot of stretching usually.
Yeah. But the way the coaches get really sneaky is the stretching doesn't count as part of the period. So if you have a 24-period practice, stretching doesn't count as one of those periods.
So essentially, then the media's seen nothing.
You know.
I'd be remiss if this being the first day of camp, I didn't ask you for some Lou Holtz camp stories, because I'm sure you have some.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so again, to go back to that idea of the periods, the way periods work in practice is after every 5 minutes, a horn will blow. They'll tell you it's period 2, period 3, whatever the case is. Well, Lou would have this, when things weren't going well during a specific period, he would look up at the tower and tell them to hold the clock.
Yeah.
Meaning the climb is not actually moving.
Sure.
And then he would get done whatever he would want to get done, but he would forget that he told them to hold the clock. And so everybody would be the clock operators would be so scared of him.
Yeah.
That we would just be sitting in period 3 for 20 minutes. And we're like, and as the longer the periods go, you're just looking up at the clock like, man, this cannot be still period 3. And the dude at the top is like, he didn't say the top of the game. It's like, he forgot.
Now, would somebody like, hey, coach, we need to move to the next period?
To Lou Holtz?
To Lou Holtz? No.
No, absolutely not. Eventually, maybe one of the other coaches would kind of look up there and be like, give him a run the clock sign.
Or he'd have to just realize it himself.
Yeah.
Why are we still doing the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. He would get mad at us for still doing it. Why are we wasting time around here? Why are we doing the same drill? Coach, is still period 3.
You said we wanted to keep doing this,
Yeah,
right?
Period. Yeah. So one of those things is the prize possession was to try and get to one of the managers.
Yeah.
And look at the practice schedule and be like, man, how many periods we got today? Like 33. Oh boy.
Oh.
There we go. And you just start doing a mental calculation. You're about 33 times 5. Okay, 32.
Okay, exactly how long are we going to be out here?
Exactly.
Now,
So once you get there, you're ready to leave. Is that kind of where you were going at times?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
if you would just make it there, you're like, oh boy, all right, we're gonna have to count this up.
Now, what's the purpose of breaking up into periods like that?
Just so you can segment practice. So you might be doing specific drills during each period, so you know exactly where everybody is. And I mean, I know we don't get. It's a shame that we don't have open practices anymore the way we used to. But Shane Beamer and company run a very tight ship, and if you was to go over there and see that practice, it's organized chaos. There are people moving here, there, drills being set up, people are yelling. It's a lot going on at one time, and they maximize the amount of time that they have for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now, especially when you have restrictions on what you can do on certain days, because I think it's day 5 before they can actually get into full pads. You have to all right, well, here's what we're able to do on this day. So let's make use of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then once we get into pads, we can do some different things.
They'll be doing. I mean, they'll be doing a lot. But I think the average person, if you haven't seen a college football practice, and especially those practices, you'd be surprised at how efficient practices are. There's no standing, very little standing around.
It's a well-oiled machine at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So, no, excited to see what comes from camp, and what we can learn over these next couple weeks leading up to first game.
The good Lord bless the boys with some nice weather today, man. I'm happy for those guys out there today.
I was gonna say they better enjoy it because I looked at the forecast for next week and it's gonna be in the 90s and sunny a lot of the time. So
too bad they can't bottle it up.
This is all you're gonna get for a little while. Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the day when they probably don't need it that much because they don't have on pads.
But I think they have a few more Gatorade flavor options than y'all had back in your day, so they should stay well hydrated.
Man, those guys got it made and don't even know it over there. They got so much.
Maybe you should go over there and like, guys, back in my day.
Y'all just
Get
don't
out of
know.
here, old man.
Exactly.
Who's this guy?
Exactly.
All right.
Is Langston's backup?
100%.
All right, that'll do it for today's edition of the early game. I'll be back in for Bill once again on Monday morning, and we'll talk about hopefully something that we learned today from day one out at camp. In the bonus coming up next with myself right here on 107.5 The Game.
Achieve an insane clean home with zero risk.
The light on, or is it?
Call now and mention me. Go up for the game to get 3 rooms for only $129 or schedule at ZeroRiskColumbia.com.
This is Larry Lighton, owner and founder of Mid-Century, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Mid-Century's proven history